Welcome back to News Now. I'm John Persapio, and my special guest today is Professor Jim Mellis. Professor Mellis teaches English here at William Paterson and has some information about his civic engagement class that has an interesting spring break component. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So we understand you're running a course here called Hurricane and Rebirth.
I am.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. It's a course that focuses on New Orleans, both the history before and after Hurricane Katrina, with an emphasis on how the city rebuilt, both physically and culturally, after the storm.
Okay. Now, apparently there's a spring break component of this course. Tell us a little bit about that.
There is. We just got back Saturday, and I brought the class down for a week of service learning in New Orleans. So it was a combination of volunteer work. We're helping to rebuild homes and institutions while there, as well as cultural excursions, and we brought in lecturers, activists, documentary filmmakers to kind of compound the readings we were doing leading up to the trip.
Now, what were some of the duties that your students had while you were in New Orleans?
They were busy. In the mornings, we did our volunteer work. So we went to a Vietnamese convent and daycare center and helped paint a fence. We scraped it, rebuilt it, repainted their parking lot, had to fix a gate so the kids couldn't get out. And the remaining volunteer days, we were working in the lower 9th Ward, which was particularly hit by the storm, helping to rebuild homes.
Now, you're in New Orleans. Other than the volunteer work, did students have, even you yourself, do you guys have time to go out, explore a little bit?
We did. Our days were full. I had organized a number of cultural excursions for the students. For example, one day we went to a voodoo ceremony with a direct descendant of Marie Laveau, the famous voodoo priestess, and met some Mardi Gras Indians. One day we went out to a plantation about an hour outside the city called the Whitney Plantation. We went to Dillard University to meet the historian emeritus of the Zulu Mardi Gras crew, who gave us a history of their organization. We went out to the bayous one day, and a park ranger gave us a tour about sort of the ecology around the city, and saw a lot of alligators and things like that, and that was fun. And one morning we went to Preservation Hall, the famous New Orleans jazz club, and one of our students actually was invited to get up and sing with the band, which was amazing. And she actually got an email from the drummer later that day inviting her to tour with them over the weekend at a blues festival they were going to. So they were quite busy, certainly.
Now, this all sounds amazing. I have to ask, what gave you the idea for this?
Well, I used to live in New Orleans. I did my graduate work there. And, you know, the horrific sort of images of the storm, you know, people I knew were directly affected. And, you know, the city is just always sort of close to my heart. And, you know, I love it. You know, I love the city. I think it's really unique, and I just sort of wanted to share it with other people, you know. So that sort of sparked the idea.
Now, you mentioned being from New Orleans. How difficult was it for you to see the aftermath of Katrina?
It was incredibly difficult. You know, real feeling of kind of helplessness. You know, you're sitting watching these images on television. You know, the response, the rescue response was, you know, left a lot to be desired. And it was really, really painful. I mean, it's sort of traumatic to see, you know, a place I love so much just inundated with the water, and, you know, just all the suffering that went on immediately after the storm was very hard to watch, certainly.
Before we go here, we're running out of time. It's obviously too late to join the class this semester.
Sure.
Now, are you going to be running this again next year? Is this something I could do next year if I were interested?
Yes, we're going to be running it next spring. And we'll probably start advertising it again September, October, early next semester.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. That's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank my guest, Professor James Mellis, and wish him a continued success here at William Paterson University. Now, don't go away. We'll be right back with entertainment, weather, and sports. You're watching News Now.